says, "You don't even know him."
She doesn't know him.
Ariel, you don't even know him. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Movie Night with the Youngs. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Nicole.
And we're here again with our final movie of the month, our final movie for Disney Classics. We are doing the 1989, Disney classic, Little Mermaid, directed by John Musker, Roger Clemens, starring Jodie Benson, Christopher Daniel Barnes, Pat Carroll, and Samuel E. Wright. And you know what? I think I'm just going to start out the episode with just the vibe we're getting. I usually do my my viewing of the movies quite early, and I did it today. And I will tell you, I don't really remember this movie.
I agree. I did mine about an hour and a half ago, and I don't remember it.
I wasn't distracted. I watched the movie like I normally do, but for some reason, not a lot was sticking.
Yeah, it wasn't as interesting as I remember.
Me neither.
Or as fun as I remember.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, which makes me very sad because I do feel like we watched this one a lot. I mean, we had like the Little Mermaid sheets and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the point of this podcast. We see how these movies from our childhood affect us as adults. So let's just get into it. Little Mermaid.
On that note.
Yeah. On that note, just get into it. I mean, this has nothing to do with any plot point. One thing I did notice just from the opening scene, this animation style looks so old.
It does. It looks like a straight cartoon, like a coloring book to me.
Yeah, like it's the traditional hand-drawn style, but just from 1989, so it's, almost 35 years old, but like it just looked so dated to me, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that makes me sad."
It wasn't even crispy. Like it wasn't clear, at least on my TV.
No, I mean we're watching on Disney Plus, and I was like, this just looks old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe it other than the old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
nostalgia.
No. So we open this movie out in the sea. There's this ship with a bunch of sailors on it, and they're talking about mermaids and how mermaids exist. And this is where we first meet our love interest of the movie, Prince Eric. And he's just saying, like, I've never heard of mermaids. And his sailors tell him, like, yes, mermaids exist. They live down in the ocean. And then we follow that down to basically the bottom of the ocean. And the sailors are talking about King Triton, who rules the seas. And we follow that into going into, which we now found out on Wikipedia, apparently King Triton's castle kingdom is called Atlantica.
Which
never heard it once in the movie. Yeah, but sure. Okay, Wikipedia. But we go into this underwater palace and we see that all the mer people are gathering for some kind of event. And King Triton comes out in his little seashell with his little dolphins. And they're like, "Oh, King Triton, you're amazing. You're amazing." And then after him comes out this little crab who is Sebastian, who becomes a huge character in this movie, but who I didn't really realize he's a conductor.
That's my impression.
Like, we find out that they're putting on a concert of King Triton's daughters to, I guess, celebrate King Triton. But Sebastian has written the music, written the song, and he is the one conducting the band. And I don't think I ever clocked that as a kid, that he was a conductor.
Yeah. I mean, and he talks about later in the movie how, like, this was his life's work. And
yeah. But it's very short. Because, I mean, we'll talk about how he doesn't end up being a conductor for long. But I was like, he was a conductor? Sure.
Well, he's the king's advisor, right?
Yeah, but his main job is like a conductor. Why?
Yeah, they must have a lot of concerts.
They must. So Sebastian starts up the band and we see King Triton's 7 daughters come up. We get introduced to all of them. I then, of course, realized, typical Disney, no mom.
Mm-hmm.
King Triton's got like 7 daughters. There's no mother in sight.
Mm-hmm.
My mind also kind of went to maybe a little dark place where I was like, do you think there's no mom because there's several moms and that's why all these girls have different colored tails?
It could be. Could be.
King Triton just a equal opportunity lover, and that's why he's got all these kids.
It could be. They never even talk about the mom either.
No,
I feel like most Disney movies at least mention something.
Yeah.
like the mom's gone or something, but this one
No.
never mentions.
Never mentions. And this is like the only time too that we actually hear, well, one of like 3 scenes that we actually see his daughters talk, because the movie does focus on
Mm,
Ariel.
yeah.
But during this concert, all the girls start singing, and this is supposed to be Ariel's like coming out concert. She's supposed
Mhm.
to like say the last piece, and they open up her little shell and she's nowhere to be found. King Triton is pissed.
Which
We
what does
then,
that even mean? Like, they're introducing her to
probably to the
the Sea
people,
Kingdom?
maybe, or it's just her concert debut. Maybe she
Hmm,
just never sang in the concerts before. She's of age
mm,
now. Who knows?
maybe.
We don't know mermaid tradition. But we then cut over to Ariel, who is swimming through kind of the depths of the ocean with her little friend Flounder, who is her little sidekick. And she comes across a shipwreck and goes into the shipwreck. And we find out that she loves collecting artifacts from shipwrecks. Like, she loves
Mhm.
human artifacts. And they gather some things up, and she's so excited. And they end up getting chased by a shark. They get out of it, luckily, but they end up going, "Hmm,
Which, are sharks like, why are they trying to eat mermaids?
I think it's just the way the underwater works. Like, they're predators.
Mm.
Why wouldn't they try
Yeah,
to eat
but, I
mermaids?"
mean, they don't naturally eat humans.
I thought you were gonna say they don't naturally eat mermaids, and I was like, you're cute. Well,
Not that I
some
know
do.
of.
I mean, but well, it might not even be that he was after. He might have been after just Flounder,
Could, yeah, could be.
who's a fish.
True.
Sharks eat
It
fish.
because to me, like, this movie, like, I don't know, it's the underwater world, like, everyone's one kingdom, they all get along, so I kind of expected, like, the sharks to be, like, nice and everyone I don't know.
Kind of like Lion King, where everyone kind of
Yeah,
got. But
everyone
in
did,
Lion
yeah.
King, though, they still did eat the antelopes.
True,
You
true.
know,
Yeah,
just a circle of life thing.
yeah.
But the shark doesn't get them. Flounder and Ariel swim up to the surface and talk to a seagull whose name is Scuttle, who is clearly on drugs. No, he's not on drugs, but he is very much like, "What up, guys? Like,
Yeah. Well, my thing
I
is,
live up here."
yeah, why is he, like, the human expert?
Because he lives
That's
where the
just
humans
so
live.
random.
Yeah, she takes her booty from the sunken ships and asks Scuttle what these things
Mhm.
are, and he's not correct in anything. Like, he tells her
Yeah.
a fork is a dingle hopper that they do their hair with,
Mhm.
that a pipe is something else that they make music with, and she believes him at first, first listen,
Which doesn't make sense because if he's actually up there with humans, he's watching them use these things and they're not using it like that.
because he's on drugs.
Oh, okay. We've established.
Because I think he's just like one of those, like, he's a sun bum. He's not on drugs. He's
Yeah.
just like, he's been in the sun for too long, and he's just a little loopy.
Yeah. True.
But when he's telling her about the pipe, that is a musical instrument, she remembers, oh no, the concert, my dad's going to be really upset.
Mhm.
He is. She goes back and he apologizes. She apologizes to King Triton, excuse me. And Flounder lets it slip that they were up at the surface. And King Triton lets her know, mer people and humans are not supposed to mix. You're not supposed to go to the surface. How many times have I told you? Like, he gets pretty upset.
Mhm.
Like, this might be one of the biggest scoldings I've seen from a Disney dad.
Yeah, it could be.
Um, but Ariel, of course, gets off scot-free, goes into her little, she has like a secret cave that she hides all of her human artifacts, and she
Mhm.
puts in her new stuff, and she starts explaining everything to Flounder in one of the probably most iconic Disney songs of all time, Part of Your World,
Which is throughout this entire movie.
which is throughout this entire movie.
That one song.
Yeah, but it's one of those things which, like, I wrote down, like, Part of Your World is basically her talking about how she wants to be up at the surface. She wants to be
Mhm.
part of the human world. Why does every Disney princess want to be somewhere that they're not? No girl is satisfied in the Disney world.
Yeah, that's true. They don't wanna be princesses, it seems like. None of them.
But most of them aren't even, like, Ariel is a princess, but most of them,
Mhm.
like, aren't even really princesses. We have just put them into this category of Disney princesses.
Yeah.
But,
True.
like, Belle wants to be out in the Great Wonder. Ariel wants to be part of their world. Or Jasmine doesn't want to be married off in Agrabah. She wants, like, every girl it seems they want a better life, but then they just all end up settling for a man.
Very true. But they
Like,
got to choose the man. That's the difference.
ooh, good for you. You got to choose, but you're still just like, it hit me this time around where I was like, part of your world, it's a lovely tune. Jodie Benson has
Mhm.
a great singing voice, but it is one of those songs where I'm like, you're just asking to be elsewhere.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
also used to feel really bad because this is a song I didn't really know all the words to, but I remember in cheerleading trips when we would like go with the varsity team, all the girls would always sing it, and I always felt left out because I didn't know the words.
Huh. I mean, I feel like there's not a lot of words in this song.
There
Or
are.
like people only know the chorus.
True. Well, 100% true.
Yeah.
Which then I wrote down some of the things that I found interesting about the song. Like, if Ariel does not, she's never been, she's going to a freaking stoned seagull to get her human advice. She doesn't know things, but she does know what walk and run means. She wants to be up there where they walk, where they run. But then she goes, what do they call them? Feet? How do you know about walking and running, but you're confused about feet?
I actually wrote the same thing, but I wrote when she talks about streets and
Fire?
fire.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Like, what is a fire and how does it, what's the word burn?
Mhm. Well,
Like,
I guess Scuttle knows a
some
lot of
things?
details then. Yeah. Because that's the only place she's gonna get it.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
Yes. So she sings this song. She wants to be part of the world up
Mhm.
there. And while she's singing it, she goes almost to the surface, but she doesn't go quite that far. And then she sees a shadow come over and she looks up and it's a boat. And she gets to the surface and it's nighttime, it's a boat, and they're setting off fireworks, which I'm like, guys, fireworks from a boat that's made of wood doesn't
Yeah.
sound very safe.
Yeah.
Like,
But they're the only one. It's fine. Like
doesn't sound very
what are
safe.
they celebrating? His birthday?
According to Wikipedia, they are. Again, I thought that they were celebrating. It sounded like this ship had taken Eric to meet a potential wife
Oh,
because his
but
little right hand
yeah.
man, Barnsby, was like, we all want you to settle down. Oh, but
But he
then,
comes back with no wife.
well, he comes
So
back
they're
with Noah, so
still
why would you
celebrating?
celebrate? No,
Yeah.
but actually, I think it is his birthday because Barnsby gives him that statue of
Mm.
himself.
Yeah.
He like gives Prince Eric this like really over the top statue that Eric is like,
Mhm.
ooh, I don't know
Mhm.
about this.
Yeah.
But Ariel swims up to the boat and she is like
Mhm.
watching everything happen on the boat. They're singing, they're dancing. And of course, she narrows in on Eric super fast. And Scuttle comes out and he's like, oh, wow, like, look at them all. And she just starts saying how Eric is so handsome.
Mhm.
Wow, she's falling in typical Disney. 2.5
Falls in
seconds,
love
this
and yeah.
girl, she's ready to like give her life for this man.
Yeah. Mhm.
Which I think is very interesting because I think, you know, it is very typical Disney for people to fall in love very fast. But like, I think if you were to ask a lot of people, who is that one like character that, this is gonna sound creepy, but like that one character you found really attractive that was a cartoon, I think
Mm.
a lot of people our age say Prince Eric from Little Mermaid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's
That's
drawn
fair.
very pretty.
Mhm. Very yeah.
He's drawn very
Well,
pretty.
and he's a little different than most of the princes in
How
the
so?
classics because he's like one of the princes where he wants to marry for love, which we're used to it being the princess saying that.
He wants to marry for love, but let's keep that in the back of our mind because I have a huge problem with later scenes.
Mm, mm.
But the one thing that I thought was very interesting, I don't think I remembered what Prince Eric sounded like. And when he started speaking, I was very much like, ooh,
Really, he sounds like a Disney prince to me.
no, he sounds weird. I don't know how to explain it. I
Weird,
was
like
not, I don't know.
hmm,
I can't, I wasn't a fan of the speaking voice. I apologize to the actor, but it didn't fit for me.
huh?
Maybe I was thinking it was going to be a little bit deeper voice or something. I don't know.
Could
It didn't
be.
fit.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Ariel's only 16, so who knows how old he is.
Well, I mean, he's gone through puberty.
Yeah, but
I mean, he's getting married. But again, Disney Child Brides, not a
yeah.
shocker. But yeah, his voice just really shocked me. But while she's there, all of a sudden the wind changes and a hurricane is a coming, and the sea starts thrashing. There's lightning, which now sets the boat afire after they already set off all these fireworks. It's a strike of lightning that like lights one of their sails. All the sailors and Prince Eric have to jump overboard. Including Prince Eric's dog, which makes me wonder. I have a question. How come all the animals under the water can speak, but Prince Eric's dog can't?
What do you mean? You mean all the sea creatures can speak?
Yeah, but Prince Eric's dog can't. Is just a dog. He's like woof woof.
I don't know. Maybe they're just not as evolved in this movie.
Maybe. I thought that was very strange. But the boat lights on fire and Prince Eric goes back on. They all jump overboard, but he sees that his dog Max is still on board. So he gets back on and then throws Max over. But then all the powder kegs, because this is
A fire
whatever,
hazard.
whatever time period it is, they just have like kegs of gunpowder. The gunpowder blows up and throws Eric off. He's unconscious. He's floating in the sea. Ariel, because again, she's in love after 2.5 seconds, goes to save him, takes him to land, and like creepily looks like hovers over him as he's like regaining consciousness, and she's singing to him how much she wants to be part of his world. He wakes up to her singing and kind of gets like a blurry image of her. But then Max comes running with Barnsby, and that scares her off, and she dives back into the ocean.
Yeah.
During this time, and Eric is also like, I gotta find her again. Like, who is she?
He's in love too now.
Yeah, like I saw her dazily coming back from consciousness. Who is she?
Which I put how Ariel says that she loves him, but the only interaction she has is he is unconscious.
Yeah, they've never spoken.
Yeah,
nothing. Disney giving us false hope that just by looking at someone you can fall in love. But after this, Ariel swims away. I didn't put this in the right thing, but I think it's okay. We then meet Ursula. Ursula is a woman octopus. I think.
Are you questioning that? Yeah.
Well, she's not a mermaid, but like, is there another creature that's a woman octopus?
I don't think so.
Well, that's Ursula.
Yeah.
She is a sea witch, and she starts talking about how she was banished from King Triton's palace for some reason.
Yeah, I actually put that in my notes that she never explains why she's banished.
Yeah, but she wants to get back. She doesn't explain, but she wants to get back at King Triton, and she sees, because she's a witch, she can like see what's happening, and she sees Ariel is starting to fall in love, and she's like, I think I can use Ariel as like some leverage to get back at King Triton. Ariel goes back. It's like the next day. She wakes up to her sisters and she's singing around, floating around. Good morning, father. She's not British. I don't know why I said that in an accent. But she is just in a daze because she's in love. And King Triton basically asks like, why is she in love? Who is it? And another thing I forgot to mention, when he got mad at Ariel earlier in the movie for going up to the surface, he made Sebastian now look after her.
Yeah.
So Sebastian has been following her around this whole time, which makes no sense as the conductor of the orchestra.
He's conductor / king's advisor.
/ now babysitter.
Yeah.
His jobs make no sense. Like, get your work, sir, but these do not coincide together.
Not to mention he's a crab and he can't really keep up.
Oh, yeah, no, he's swimming real hard. He can't keep up with them. But King Triton asks Sebastian, like, what happened? Like, who's she in love? Who's the lucky merman? And basically gets out of Sebastian that they went to the surface and she saved a human.
Yeah,
and
which
King
again...
Triton,
he's so happy that she is in love, found this person, is going to get married, and she's 16.
Child bride. Classic Disney. But yeah, he then gets upset that he hears she saved a human. We then see that Flounder has a surprise for Ariel and brings her back to her little cave grotto. And inside is that Prince Eric statue, which...
How to get there?
How did it get there?
In that tiny hole at the top of the little cave.
Forget the tiny hole. The tiny fish How did
Yeah.
he bring it in?
Oh.
I mean, it's very strange, but of course Ariel starts talking to the statue like, "Oh my god, Ariel, you love me."
Mhm.
Like doing all these giggles. That was my Disney princess
That's
laugh.
perfect.
She starts talking to him, saying how much, she thinks he's handsome and all these things. But then behind her, King Triton swoops in. And this is the first time he's seen that Ariel has collected all these human things.
Mhm.
And he really lets loose on her.
Yeah.
Basically, again, like, you're not supposed to go to the surface. Mer people and humans are not supposed to mix. How dare you disobey me? To which she then says, "Father, I love him."
Mhm.
Ariel. Oh, that's
She
what it
couldn't
was.
help it. She couldn't help it.
She says, "Father, I love him." And he says, well, before that, he says, all humans are bad. They just like eat fish. Like he's like saying all the ways that humans
They're
are
like,
bad.
yeah.
To which she says, "You don't even know him."
She doesn't know him.
Ariel, you don't even know him. Yeah. Like you saw him for 2
Yeah.
seconds and then he dazily saw you for 2 seconds and all of a
Mhm.
sudden you're defending him. But King Triton gets really upset and tells her she's forbidden to see him. She's forbidden to go to the surface. And he takes his trident, his staff, and basically blows up all of her stuff,
Yeah.
which
It's a
where's
bit
he getting his
much.
powers from?
I have no idea. From a
Like,
trident. Isn't that like
but why does he have powers? He's just a
I don't
king. All of a sudden now he's like
Yeah,
magical?
but the trident is magical. So it makes him magical.
Hmm.
I don't know. I may be getting that confused with like Atlantis, which is probably
I don't know. I
not
was
the
just like,
same.
where's this power coming from, sir? But he ruins all of her stuff, and Ariel does the dramatic, like I said, Belle throwing herself on the bed
Mhm.
crying. And Sebastian,
Which, sorry, she
no,
sounds like Belle to me.
she does, but they're different actors.
Mhm.
They're
But when
different.
I was watching it, I was like, she really sounds like Belle.
I think that actually, now that you say it, I think Jodie Benson, who voices, I think she's also the speaking voice of Jasmine.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking it up right now because, last week you kept on yelling at me that I was not prepared.
You're still not
Uh,
prepared because you're looking it up.
no, and I'm incorrect. She's not the voice of Jasmine.
Oh. Well, she
I
has a
thought she
very
was two people.
common like Disney princess
She
voice.
does. Yeah. Like, yeah, the voice we all try to imitate.
Mhm.
But Sebastian wants to cheer up Ooh, wrong movie. Wants to cheer up Ariel, and he starts telling her how amazing it is here under the sea, and breaks into another iconic song called "Under the Sea,"
Mhm.
which I thought this was just a great tune. I loved all the animals that were coming to play. It's just like a catchy poppy. Like this
Yeah.
song, I knew all the words to.
Yeah. I really like Sebastian. I like that they gave him like an island
Yeah.
flair, which is I feel like it was very different for Disney, especially like in these really early Disney movies.
Yeah, he has a Caribbean accent. Samuel E.
Mhm.
Wright plays him, and
Mhm.
yeah, I think he was really good. But I did think it was I remember a little bit of a controversy in this part.
Mhm.
Like, there's a bit of a caricature where he says that like the blackfish sings, and it's like a very voluptuous black fish with giant lips that's like, ooh, and everyone was
Ah.
like, that's like a really big black caricature stereotype that you're doing. It's
Mhm.
like for a really brief second, but like I
Mhm.
saw it this time remembering that story, and I was like, yeah, guys, we
Uh,
gotta like this,
yeah.
that seemed purposeful.
You should have told me that so I could watch for it when I
Oh
was
yeah,
watching it.
it's really quick, but
Mm.
it was a choice.
Hmm.
Was a choice.
Hmm.
During this awesome song, Ursula's two little pet eels, who do all of her dirty work, come and start talking to Ariel during this song, saying like, we know what you need. You want to be
Mhm.
with your man, basically. You need to come see Ursula the Sea Witch.
Yeah.
And during this song, she goes and says like, okay, I'm gonna go visit Ursula. And Ursula offers Ariel a deal. I will give you legs for 3 days, and you have to get true love's first kiss, because that's the currency in these Disney movies. True love's first
Apparently.
kiss. Or not even Disney, it's just fairy tales.
Mhm.
But you get true love's first kiss by sundown on the third day, and I will let you stay a human. the trade-off is if you don't get true love's first kiss, I'm assuming take your
Get your
soul. I don't know.
soul. Yeah.
Yeah, she
I
like
think yeah.
they turn into like weird seaweed looking creatures.
It's very
But
dark.
it's very dark. But the trade-off is also that Ariel she has to do this task without her voice.
Yeah.
And Ursula goes into a fantastic song, Poor Unfortunate Souls. And she's explaining how she's done this many, many times. She's helped these poor, unfortunate souls. And this is what I thought was very sad. And I never, ever, ever heard, I don't think I've ever heard it in it before, but this time I was like, okay. She goes to her cauldron and she magics up these two mer people.
Yeah.
Goofy looking skinny boy.
And then the
sad looking fat
chunkier girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Then she says, this one wanting to be thinner and this one wanting to get the girl, do I help them? Yes, indeed. And she like snaps her fingers and the girl turns super skinny and gorgeous and the guy turns into like super buff and then they just start like macking on each other, which I'm like,
you didn't know. Yeah.
I never have noticed that. Like, this is not a good message. First of all, that you can't be happy being either skinny and lanky or fat. But the fact that you now need to change yourself to be happy and also change yourself to find love. Like the fact that they could convey that negative message within like 2.5 seconds of a song.
Yeah.
I was like, Disney.
Shame.
This is not okay. Not okay.
This is early Disney.
Yeah, like these people are selling their souls to basically look pretty and you guys are fine with it. And that message is driven home even more later in the song when Ursula tells Ariel, you can do this all without your voice. And Ariel says, like, how am I supposed to? And Ursula says, don't worry, use your face. You're pretty. And then at one point she's like, and that body language. And she goes into like a minute of talking about how men don't really want women who talk. And like that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for a face and a body, and you don't need your voice to fall in love with someone, which made me kind of feel like what she's really saying is like your looks will get you love, your personality doesn't matter.
Yeah. She convinces her though.
Yeah, but like that's harmful.
Ariel's not Ariel. I feel like Ariel's not one of our strong princesses.
No, I think her whole story is not strong at all. Because she wants to be part of your world. I get that. You want to be somewhere else. You want to find adventure. But the fact that part of your world turns into, never mind, I just want to be your love and I just want to be your wife.
Yeah.
And I'll just look pretty.
Yeah. And forget all my family and
yeah. But you're right. They do end up, or Ariel does end up taking the deal. She signs a contract. She call me Disney. She gets, I'll be your first fat princess. I'm looking, my face looks super red. It's because it's really hot in my apartment, guys. But she gives Ursula her voice, and Ursula gives her legs. Her fin turns into legs, but all I could realize is y'all are getting real close to showing her naked crotch here.
Yeah.
We're pretty low on her belly and pretty high on her
especially
thigh.
for Disney. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's it? Flounder and Sebastian, because she's now human, she can't breathe underwater, pull her out of Ursula's lair and bring her up to the surface. And
had they not been there, she would have just drowned right there.
Yeah,
like, or Ursula didn't even banish her to the surface.
That wasn't the deal. The deal was just to get her legs. You got to get to your prince yourself.
Which also, this is one thing that I had in my notes. I mean, in a couple parts of the movie, is that just because she has legs, she all of a sudden can't swim.
But she can't swim because she doesn't know how to use her legs.
Well, yeah, but even further in the movie, she should know how to use them by then.
Well, but then, I mean, you could also then argue when she gets to the surface, in about like 3 seconds, she knows how to walk. Like she stumbles like twice and then she's like walking.
Magic, Disney magic.
Yeah. Just erase all the baby steps that you had to learn. But yeah, Flounder and Sebastian bring her to the surface. She's figuring out her legs. Scuttle comes around and like tells her like, "Hey, take that sheet over there from like the sail and just wrap it around yourself. You look great
Mhm.
because you're naked from the bottom, but you have a coconut bra or a seashell bra. Like you can't wear that here. It's not what
Yeah.
humans wear." While she's on the beach getting advice from her little friends, Prince Eric is walking on the beach as well, him and his dog. The dog smells her.
I think yeah, like, he knows it's her.
Yeah, and he like rushes up
Mhm.
to Ariel and kind of scares her a little bit. And she jumps on this rock. And then Prince Eric comes around and like they recreate the shot that like when he was unconscious looking up at
Mhm.
Ariel, they recreate that shot again. And he was just like, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And she's like, "Mm-hmm." And I'm like, okay, so she said yes, but he doesn't believe her because she says, "I can't talk." And he says, "Oh, the girl that I like am trying to find, she can sing."
Yeah.
Which like, well, I'll say that comment in a little bit because it makes more sense later. But he decides to bring her to the castle. They bring her to the castle and Sebastian says, "I'll stay with you. I'll help you get your man."
Mhm.
And him and Ariel go to the castle. They give her a bath. She gets all dressed up, about to meet the prince and his little right-hand man for dinner. But Sebastian ends up in the I was going to burp. Sorry. Sebastian, is that what you're laughing at?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to burp. I apologize. Sebastian ends up in the kitchen where he sees that the chef he makes all these fish dinners,
Seafood, yeah.
seafood, and their main meal is stuffed crab. So Sebastian is trying to get out of there while this chef is singing a song that sounds oddly similar to Be Our Guest.
Yep. I even thought the voice sounded similar.
Yeah, like I was sitting here, I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I mean, it's the same Alan Menken and I can't
But
remember the
this
other
is
guy name."
before
This is before. This
Beauty
is
and the
80s.
Beast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the music,
It's
Alan
similar.
Menken and his writing partner, whose name I'm, but yeah, it's so it makes
Mhm.
sense. I think they did like 4 Disney movies in a row,
Oh,
and like
okay.
won all these Oscars for like original songs and stuff like that. But yeah, it sounds a lot like Be Our Guest.
Mhm.
But
It's a funny
Ariel comes
scene.
out. It is, yeah. Ariel comes out, they have dinner, and this is where you start seeing, like, when she walks into the room, because his Prince Eric's little right-hand man is saying, like, "You're never gonna find this dream girl. Like, just focus on who's in front of you right
Yeah,
now." And then
which is
Eric's like,
this girl.
"No." Yeah, but Eric's like, "No, I have feelings for her." And then he turns and see Ariel, and you can just see he's falling in love.
Mhm, mhm.
So that goes back to what you were saying, where you were saying he wants real love. No,
Yeah. Mm.
he saw her, she's pretty, he's in. She hasn't even said a
Yeah.
word.
Yeah, true.
Like, obviously, you don't need to speak to fall in love, but,
Mhm.
like, this whole thing to me where I'm just like, from what Ursula said, it just feels like a lot Disney really leaning into Ariel's looks here.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Eric looks at her lovingly for, like, the next 20 minutes of this
Mhm.
movie.
Which shouldn't he be king? Because he has no parents either.
I don't know. I'm also just like because he says, "Would you like to see my kingdom tomorrow?" And Ariel's like,
Yeah,
"Of course." And the next day he takes her out for like a tour of the kingdom.
yeah,
Nobody pays attention to him. Like he's
yeah,
not getting like like he's just out in a carriage by
yeah.
himself.
He's a very, free prince because he's also how he's on the beach by himself with just him and his dog.
Yeah, he's like laid back. He's like,
Yeah.
I just probably live in the castle. I'm not really a prince, but yeah, he takes her the next day through the town and starts to again, she is showing some of her personality, like the things she gravitates towards and likes,
Mhm.
but they haven't talked. So he's still just going off of like, this girl's pretty.
Yeah.
They end up in a boat on, I was gonna say on the water. Makes sense. That's where boats are. Boats in like this little kind of swampy
Lake. So
area.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's the end of day 2. Sebastian decides to set the mood with another
With just his
song.
conductor skills.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
helps or he makes all the, like, animals that are in the swamp and, like, the plants
Which, another
make the
thing
music.
that I wrote down is, like, he's there, flounder's there, there's a couple other fish that should be in salt water
Mm,
that are there. I'm like, "How
yeah.
are they in the swamp?"
Well, it's also just, like, how has Sebastian been out of water this long?
Yeah, that's
Period.
true too.
Like, he's really hanging out there.
Yeah. Well, can
Um,
crabs be out of water for long?
Probably, but he's been out of the water for at least 2 days.
True.
So, I don't know. We're not
No, he
zoologists.
had the bath.
Oh,
Remember where
that's
she's
true,
washing the
that's true.
clothes?
That's true.
Although it's soapy water.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
in this
Another
moment,
thing, like
he is
Lion
trying to
King, I
set the
didn't look up
mood.
the yeah,
Look up the what?
I didn't look up the, animal facts.
Oh, that's fine. We're not that's not what the podcast is about. Animal fact accuracy. But he starts setting the mood for them to kiss with the song Kiss the Girl, which I've seen a lot of people talk about how this song like needs some more consent in it because it's basically just someone telling another person to kiss the girl, but he's not really
Mhm.
asking Ariel if he can kiss her.
Mhm.
And I don't know that I really agree with that because Ariel is constantly going in for the kiss. Like
Yeah.
she knows what's
She's
going
in on
on.
it, yeah.
Yeah, like I do think obviously consent is important, but like I
Mhm.
feel I don't know, I could be speaking out of turn. I feel like because she can't speak, she's actively showing him like
Yeah.
I'm giving you the go ahead,
And
but
she nods her head yes a lot in that scene,
she
doesn't she?
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know, that could just be naivete and maybe body language is not considered consent. I'm not sure. I
Mhm.
speaking out of turn probably. But alas, they get overturned in the boat and it's Ursula's little eel guys and Ursula's like, "Ooh boy, that was close.
Mhm.
I need to make this not happen." That's not coherent words together.
But that
Uh
was her plan all along, I think, was to give her this opportunity, but it was never gonna happen.
well, it was never going to happen because she took the voice
Yeah.
away. And then now she's like, "Oh no, Eric's a sleaze bag. He just likes her for his looks. He's fallen
Mhm.
in love."
Mhm.
Cuz she
Which
even
oh,
says,
go ahead.
"Oh,
You're probably
she
gonna say
calls her a
exactly what I wanna s
tramp."
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
that too.
She
Mhm.
said, "What a tramp. She's actually like doing it." Or
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, "Well, she's not a tramp. Eric is a sleaze." Like he's falling in love with her for her looks. She can't help it.
Yeah.
But she concocts this idea that she is now going to turn herself into a human and she's going to go up to the top side. I want to keep on saying top side, up to above the water, and she's going to use Ariel's singing voice to
Mhm.
get Prince Eric.
Mhm.
Prince Eric's out for a late night walk. Again, Barnsby is like, "Look at the girl who's in front of you because she's really pretty." And Eric is like, "Yeah, I agree." He starts playing his flute, throws the flute in the water, and then hears the ah and sees Ursula, who is now Vanessa in human form, walking along the water singing. Which I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't understand. Why is singing so important to Eric? Like he's so concerned that she can't sing, and I'm like, why?
Yeah. I don't think it's about the actual singing, it was kinda like that's what made him fall in love with her. Like, he was almost in a trance almost.
But he like threw his flute away. Like, why are you throwing away musical instruments?
'Cause he's a prince, he can just get another one.
I guess so. But the next morning, Scuttle wakes Ariel up and says, "I've heard around town the prince is getting married. Congratulations, you did it." And she excitedly runs downstairs and she sees Vanessa and Prince Eric, who we can clearly see has been like mesmerized, like spell
He's
voodoo
got yeah, his eyes
mesmerized.
are, like, glowing.
Yeah, by Vanessa. And they need to get, he says, the wedding ship will send out tonight, sunset.
Mhm.
The ship goes out. Ariel is on the dock. She's upset. She's crying. She's so sad.
Yeah.
Scuttle is unaware that it's not Ariel on the boat. He goes out and he sees Vanessa slash Ursula, which I'm like, where did you get the name Vanessa?
I feel like it matches, though.
But I'm also just like, nobody says it until this guy, like the priest, says, like, "Do you Vanessa?" And I'm like, where did Vanessa come from?
Oh, yeah. She
But
doesn't need a name.
she doesn't. But Scuttle sees Vanessa slash Ursula singing in the boat, saying how she's done it, she's gotten away with it, and
Mhm.
sees the reflection that it's Ursula. He goes back and tells Ariel, who she then swims out to the boat with Flounder, who also can't swim very well. But with Flounder,
He can swim,
Sebastian,
it's just heavy.
he's slow. Sebastian then says, "I'm going to go get the king. He needs to know what's happening." So Ariel climbs up onto the boat. All these animals that Scuttle has rallied up are now attacking Vanessa on the boat. And Ariel jumps on board. And at that moment, Scuttle rips off this little nautilus shell that was around Ursula Vanessa's neck that was
Mhm.
holding Ariel's voice. And it like falls right in front of Ariel, and her voice escapes and goes into her throat.
Mhm.
And then Prince Eric is like out of this daze and he's like, "It was you the whole time." And she's like, "I was trying to tell you." "No, you weren't." but sure. They're about to kiss, the sun is going down, and then Ursula turns back into Ursula,
Mhm.
and creepy crawly, like they miss the sundown mark, and Ariel turns back into a mermaid.
Yep.
And Ursula creepy crawlies across the deck and like grabs her and like, "You're mine," and brings her back into the ocean.
Yeah.
Then King Triton shows up and decides, "Hey, I'm going to change my life for my daughters. I have now
Mhm.
signed this contract and you can have me, Ursula, instead of her."
Mm. Yeah,
And
sacrifices himself.
yeah, and Ursula then takes his crown and becomes giant Ursula.
Which, I mean, King Triton, couldn't he just kill her all along?
But
Like, why
he's
did you
not,
need to even switch places with the contract?
because according to her, the contract is legally and binding, even for you. She does say that. She's like, it's legally binding even for you.
Yeah, but for Ariel, he can still kill her, can he?
Yeah, but wouldn't the contract still be legally binded?
I don't if she's dead, it just disappears, doesn't it?
Well, I guess it does. Well, yeah, that's true. But either
Mhm.
way,
Yeah.
he takes over. He becomes this little seaweed man. She takes the crown and his trident, and she becomes the ruler of the seas and grows enormously. At
Mhm.
this time, Eric has jumped into the water and he is helping Ariel kind of fight against Ursula. Ursula creates a little tornado in the water. What's that called? Whirlpool.
Yeah, yeah.
A whirlpool
I was
where
gonna say
all
cyclone.
yeah, sure, cyclone works too, but I think yeah, but
Yeah.
she creates this little whirlpool where all these shipwreck ships start going through and Ariel is thrown at the bottom of it. Eric gets on one of these ships and literally steers a broken part of the mast into
Right into
Ursula's
her.
belly,
Mhm.
killing her. This scene was terrifying. It is
I was gonna say
very
it's dark. It's very
it's
dark.
scary. And like
Mhm.
when she finally dies, her body like electrocutes and you can see like the inside of her
Skeleton.
skeleton.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
It reminds me for some reason of Pirates of the Caribbean, that whole scene.
Yeah. Makes sense. I mean, Disney.
Mhm.
That tracks. But Ursula's dying. And as she's dying, all of her little seaweed people pop into their regular mermaid selves,
Mhm.
including King Triton.
Mhm.
And yay, all is right with the sea again. Ariel is back under the water, or up top. She's sitting on a rock again, looking at Eric on the beach. They can't be together. He's also again passed out.
He's been
Eric
through a
just
lot through this movie.
he's just constantly unconscious on the beach. But she's staring at him, and Sebastian tells King Triton, "You really want your kids to be happy." And King Triton says, "You know what? It's going to be hard because I'll miss her." And then he takes his staff and gives her legs, which I'm like, where is this power coming from?
Or you
Could
could have
he?
done this at the beginning of the movie.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't have, but like, why do you? Are you a witch? How do you have the same witch powers?
I'm
I
telling you,
don't
it
know.
comes from I don't know. But
I don't know. Ariel gets legs. Mysteriously, Eric wakes up at the same time. They embrace at the waterfront. We then are back on the wedding boat and they get married and live happily ever after.
mhm. But she never sees her family again.
Well, no.
Probably.
And I'm also like, I don't know. It's weird. Do you recognize that your wife is a merman or a mermaid? Like, do you guys talk about it?
And I really don't think it ever crosses his mind. Like, they never
Probably
even
not.
make the connection that his wife, like, literally jumped into the ocean and can swim. Yeah.
Yeah, like she changed who she was for you. Treat her right. She's only 16. So, with that, Nicole, the question we ask ourselves after every movie, did this movie hold up or was it just nostalgia?
Mm, this one's hard for me.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with nostalgia,
Me too.
unfortunately. I like to see
This,
movies, still hold up, but I think this one's gonna
this,
be nostalgia.
this one was nostalgia to me because, again, just the sudden change of I want something more for myself turned into I'm now just going to fall in love with this man and change everything about me, which I'm like,
And
I'm not
settle,
for it.
yeah.
But
Mhm.
also, I, as much as a kid, I liked all the music. I didn't, to me, watching it, I wasn't that connected like Beauty and the Beast, Lion King,
Yeah.
Goofy movie. It didn't hit me as hard as those movies did.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't think if I had to like go back through the Disney oeuvre that I would be like, oh, Little Mermaid, we got to watch it.
Yeah, I agree. I actually wasn't excited to even watch this movie.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, Ariel. But yeah,
but yeah, which is weird.
nostalgia.
Yeah, like you said, it's gonna be nostalgia.
That's okay. It's still good. It is
Mhm.
still a good movie.
Yeah,
It's just
it's still a
nostalgia.
classic.
Yeah, it's still a classic. Still got its problems. That's it. Well,
The
everybody,
end.
the end. Thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate you guys. We are going to be taking off next week, so there will be no new episode next week. We will be back on May 9th. We are starting a brand new month. We are going to be doing movies that scared us that shouldn't have. And we will tell you what that movie that scared us that shouldn't have is closer when we get there. But yes, thank you so much for giving us a listen. All of our YouTube viewers, thanks for watching. Please leave us a like, a comment,
A comic.
a comment, and subscribe. Everybody on the podcast platforms, thank you for downloading. Guys, thanks for another great month of really good movies.
Mhm.
We appreciate you guys.
We very much do.
Okay. With that, we hope you guys have a good movie night. Thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye.